contributing to this industry is the radiation that is exacerbating this cancer in our societies. That being said, October 7th took place and the crimes of Israel became apparent for the world to see. That caused people to be more curious not only about Israel, but the religion that they followed, that they were using to justify these atrocities. But a lot of people started unearthing startling things. And one such startling thing was that the owner of a majority of the pornography sites was a rabbi. Some dismissed it as an anti-Semitic conspiracy. I mean, a rabbi. Why? Sure, it goes against his values. But then some people hit back on X saying that they see themselves as a chosen people and everybody else is seen as fodder that is just there to facilitate them advancing in life. So there was no real way of verifying this until recently. The accused turned up on the PBD podcast, an hour-plus long session in which the guy pretty much justified what he did and was trying to make it more acceptable. And a lot of people noticed that the colleague that he brought onto the show was strategically a woman, and she was hanging a cross that was visible from her neck, as if to placate the Christians that would be up in arms.
So this says Solomon Friedman, a rabbi overseeing Pornhub, right? What a great way to go.
There's already falsehoods in that, number one, right?
Which one is a falsehood, the rabbi part? Or?
Well, I was educated as a rabbi. I never practiced as a rabbi. It's part of my education.
Are you Jewish or Jewish?
What do you think? Solomon Friedman, this face, do you think I'm Jewish or Jewish? Well, I say this, I'll let Alex from the ALO perspective, the company itself, I'm obviously in the ownership group.
I don't know why he tried to frame it as if it's an untruthful statement. He admitted it, and I don't understand why his own have not refuted him yet.
Yeah, exactly. Giving all praises to Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai by Shem Yahweh Chakadash. Double honors to our apostles and elders here at Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the Lord's hopefully elect. Yeah, just to give commentary on this. Yeah, you see, what I noticed, what you notice when you come into the truth, when you just really start to understand and connect the dots. Like I used to notice how when we'd be out at camp, we'll be teaching, and especially when I first came in, we'll be out there teaching, saying, Esau's the so-called white man. He's going into slavery. We read the book of Malachi. But when our people will come up and they'll talk about us, no problem, right? We'll talk about so-called problems in the black community and so forth. And then we'll acknowledge the Edomites as them and them, they, right? And then if we were to utter talking about them, we would whisper it like, yeah, them white people. Like we would whisper that. And when you figure out why people do that, it's because, well, the Lord is fulfilling his prophecy when he says that he's going to reveal the wicked for who he is. And when this man, right, the reason our people, we want to whisper it when it comes to this man, or don't say it at all, or try to speak in code, is because it's gotten to the point where anything affiliated with them is only going to be associated with something evil right afterwards. So like, even if you was to Google, right, let's say if you just Google white man, and by default, what's going to come up next is probably something bad. So everything affiliated with the Edomites is only something bad or only something evil. So that's why when we're out there, if you go out in public and you're just talking and you're like, yeah, the white man, that's gonna turn heads. Why? Because they know that if you just saying that word, right, the white man, that's gonna turn heads because generally whatever's gonna follow that is gonna be something negative, right? And it's the same. So it's the same with Amalek. It's the exact same. Let me go to Genesis real quick. Now, this is what he told the snake. And this is why these Edomites now, especially those Amalekites, this is why they feel that the moment you just mention anything, if you make a statement on them or anything, they just feel like a victim and they feel like they have to respond in a way. Wait a minute, that's not true. That's not true. What do you mean? The title of the little article says Rabbi owns prawn hub or the biggest prawn site. Well, that's already not true. That's already not. Like, what's not true about it? Well, I'm not officially rabbi. It's like, but I do own it. Okay, so that means it's the truth. But this is what Genesis 3, this is what he told. No, you know what I want? I want Cain. Because he told Cain in Genesis 4:11, and now art thou cursed from the earth, which have opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand. When thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond shall thou be in the earth. Cain, which is of the same people of the serpent, because it's of the wicked one, when he came back as an Edomite, because it's the seed of the wicked, it continued. That curse continued. The word Cain means kwayan, which means weapon or spear. So a sword. And Esau's blessing was the sword. So that word there, fugitive. Now why? It says to quiver, to shake, totter, right? Make move. So there are walking fugitives and walking vagabonds, which means they're not accepted anywhere. It says a fugitive and a vagabond shall thou be in the earth. That's these Edomites. That's why when you say anything about them, it's going to cause them to quiver, because they know that they're cursed from the earth. So like, even if you say like so-called, if you say white man, this white, they know like, okay, you must not like us, because to hear those words, there's nothing good is going to come after that. And just like if you talk about the Amalekites, like you can't even look, just saying the word in public, just saying the word Jewish in public, or even on the internet, that's going to cause all the algorithms, all the AI forms, they're all going to hone in on your video. Why? Because it just saying that word Jewish, they like, oh, somebody got to silence the video, take the video down, because chances are he's going to say something that isn't right. Now, why do they feel that way? Well, it's because their curses are coming upon them. So this is why they feel the need to have to hide. You understand? Everything they do, they move and operate, is to hide. And all the Lord has done is just reveal these people for who they are, because they've always been like this. But like the gentleman said when he started the video, when October 7th happened, all it did was shed more light on these Edomites, in particular the tribe of Amalek. So then people started to look more into what? Their book, their customs, how they see other people, their religion. And people just go further and further, and they start to connect the dots. And they look into their mindset, they look into what they believe, the type of nature they are. And the thing is, they've always been like this. It's not something they've just been discovered. It's just the Lord is just shining a light on it now. So now the world is truly seeing these Edomites for who they are, which according to the scriptures, they are the wicked. Jeremiah 49:11. But I have made Esau bare, I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not. Why did the Lord say that? Because that shows you right there that these Edomites have a habit of what? Hiding. They do things in the dark. Why? Because of that curse that they got back from the serpent and from Cain. They're trying to hide. They're trying to hide their work. They're trying to hide their dealings, because if light was truly shed on what the type of people they are, it's going to bring shame to them from the whole world. So prior to the Lord bringing judgment to these people, is that these people, the world is going to see these Edomites for who they truly are. Nobody's going to slander you. Nobody's going to lie. You are going to show. He's just going to shed the light and say, now it's time for this wicked to be shown and revealed. That's what's happening right now. And that's why they feel the need to feel defensive. The moment you say anything, if you make a headline about them, if you say those things, they feel defensive about it, because they're a fugitive. They're quivering. They're shaking. You say anything, right? About them, they're like, oh, well, wait a minute now. They feel like they're on the defense just by saying who they are, Right. That's why you basically can't even use that word. That just saying that word Jewish. They really want to outlaw that. Here it is. That's what they are. But since they know that when you say that word, typically is associated with something bad or negative. Now they feel quiver. They want to quiver. Right. They're everything they do and they move and operate. They all do it in hiding, and they've always been like that. So now coming out in public, they're afraid. Look, I saw a bunch of them in the store last night over here in the nice part of the area, right? I swung by there and there was a bunch of them. So I said, okay, they must have just came from doing something. And they all had this look of fear just when they looked like at me, right? It's just because they just know they've been outed. They just been outed. So when they see a Israelite, when they see our people, they feel some type of way because they've been outed. You see, this is the Lord just prophesying. He's just simply revealing them for who they are to the world and how they always been. About 5 or 10 years ago, it wasn't like this, right? They was able to operate and move in the shadows, but now everybody is shedding the light on what's really going on and who's really calling the shots here. Now, wouldn't you think that they should be happy for their accomplishments? If you truly run Hollywood, and if you truly run all these businesses and you own all of these things, why don't you own up and be happy for your accomplishments? But instead, they want you to be silent. You can't say it. You can't say it. They just don't want you. You just can't say it. Yeah, we know it's true, but you can't say it. But it's the truth. There was this Edomite that went to this public thing, and all he did was just name the names and nationalities of all the people who run who, and right? And everything he said, he was like, this person, nationality, Jewish. This person, nationality, Jewish. And then immediately, you got to stop. Shut him off. Like, what? But what did he say? You see, so it's got to the point where just stating the fact and just calling them out of who they are causes that reaction. And it's always been like that for the Edomites. In particular, it's always been like that for the so-called white man, put it that way. But now the Lord is making sure that these Amalekites are also getting a piece of that. So now, as you can see, just the calling in their name is making them all quiver, making them all ashamed, making them all feel like oh, you're attacking me. You can't say that. Like, what am I saying? Ain't nobody insulting you. So just calling them who they are is an insult. This is who they call themselves. But if you call themselves that, they're gonna say you're insulting me. So you got to deal with these people with care and sensitivity because they're so sensitive. Well, that's because the scripture says that you shall be a fugitive and a vagabond upon the earth. And in the end, he's going to reveal you to who you really are. And we're going to get to it.
You got a family, you got kids?
Yeah.
How old are your kids?
Sure. So I've got two 19-year-olds and a 16-year-old.
How you talk to them that you guys run this season?
First of all, I don't run it. I'm very proud of the people who do. We bought it. Yeah. There's a difference.
I mean,
but technically, shut up. Do you think we're idiots? I know we're the goyim, but this is taking a mick, mate.
But Patrick,
yeah, see, there that is again. Like he opened up, he read the headline where it says Rabbi owns largest pawn. Well, that's not technically true. So they already lying right there. They already lying. So that's already misinformation. Take it down. Right. Then he said, well, so how do you tell your kids that you run this whole thing? Well, technically, I don't run it. I just own it. You see what I'm saying? You see how you just calling out and saying the truth to them is an attack because they're trying to hide, because he knows it's a bad look to be of the so-called chosen seed, but you are owning and you bought with your own interest to make money off of, right? Something that's clearly unholy. The acts and the word escapes me, but all of those filthy acts and adultery and all that stuff that goes on, and you're behind it and you're financially benefiting off of it, which is supposed to be against the scriptures, against your religion, your belief, but yet you're the one responsible for all this, making the most money, and you're responsible for an addictive drug that really damages both men and women's lives, and you're responsible behind it. Yes, you are. Okay.
Before I did this acquisition, I sat down with them and I laid out the plan. I said, this is what I want to do. This is what my interest is, and obviously I wear the compliance hat in the ownership group. I want to raise the standards here. I want to invest in trust and safety. I want to keep kids off the platform from viewing it. And you know what's funny? My kids have been raised by a criminal defense lawyer. That was my first career, 15 years in criminal defense. And my daughter said to me, she said, "Hold on, you defend people who are legitimately doing wrong things. You do that as a defense lawyer. You know, my kids know why I do that. They understand. They're probably more about the criminal justice system than most. And here you have a company that wants to get it right, that wants to improve. Why wouldn't you do this? Like, it's just a no-brainer. Maybe the wisdom of the young there."
How did he say so much without saying anything? You know what the bottom line is? The bottom line is,
Yeah, well, my response would be like, oh, okay, so when we're going to see your daughter on the sites? When we're going to see your daughter on the front page of the sites? And since your daughter has so much wisdom and she's okay with what you're doing, well, let's see, when is she going to end up on the site? Huh?
his kids don't know.
It doesn't have that legitimacy. And one of the reasons for that, as we started to examine the business further, was that nobody wanted to say we are the owners of a major adult company, right? Everyone, they wanted the benefits of owning a major adult company. It's a profitable business, but nobody wanted to be out front and engaging with other tech businesses, with government, with law enforcement, with regulation in that sort of way that the modern tech industry has to. So we saw in that this arbitrage opportunity, right? Where if people who come from, the mainstream professional networks, whether it's law enforcement, tech, finance, etc., this is an opportunity to really bring this industry into the 21st century. And, you don't want to have a society where everybody thinks that's the sort of pinnacle of beauty, of sexuality, etc. What actually happens now with the content creator world is that porn looks like everybody.
Yep.
Older, younger, bigger, smaller, different skin colors, different identities. Everyone is represented. So people actually find a lot more of themselves in what they see.
Yes. And this is the biggest problem of all. What he wants to do is he wants to normalize it. He wants to spread it such that people aren't embarrassed. Whether it's governments or companies, he wants to take it on the road. That's right. And not only that, he wants you and I to be involved. Yeah, we don't want to relegate it to a corner of our society and say, yeah, it's them. Nah, we got to all be involved. Yeah.
I always say this is our first investment. It's not our last investment because we see a lot to do.
So you're going to get into more porn sites?
No, that's why.
That's interesting.
I don't know if we could get into more. I don't know if there are more.
Yeah, he's right. Which other company could they acquire? Because although the word Pornhub, that site, was being used, the actual parent company that they have acquired is Alo, which used to be MindGeek, which owns the biggest pornography sites, namely Twisties, Reality Kings, Pornhub, YouPorn, Brazzers, Digital Playground, all of these that are very popular and very successful. This now makes these guys the top of the food chain.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Can you tell me about the chairman of your company, Ethical Capital Partners, that bought the company?
Sure.
Who's Rocco Meliambro?
Started out in financing mining and then went into the regulated cannabis space, right? Which is actually how a number of us met in the regulated cannabis space in Canada.
It just gets better and better. The guy that's the chairman was responsible for normalizing a drug to our societies.
So from minefields to cannabis, aka marijuana, to prime. But if you say their involvement with any of that, like the jewelry and the minefields, if you say the drugs, the who, if you say that, oh, you can't say that because that's hate speech. What it is they don't like the fact that they're getting called out. So just calling them for who they are has become a stigma to them. You see, that's the Lord said he's going to bring the curses upon our enemies. So this is how sensitive and how fragile these people are. We're just telling the truth, and calling them for what they are is considered like a threat, an attack. Like you're just supposed to know this stuff, but you're just not supposed to say it, right? Somebody wrote a comment on it. It says, somewhere I read, it says, to the so-called Jew, nothing could be more insulting than speaking the truth. Yeah. And that's really the case for all of these Edomites. And how did we get here? Well, that's the Lord in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. verse 5, it says, "Remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things? And now ye know that withholdeth that he might be revealed in his time. For the mystery of iniquity doeth already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way." So back then, it wasn't well known that the Edomites were the wicked, even though it was written in the scriptures, because you didn't have this level of light to be shed upon them, and they didn't get this level of wickedness that they were able to amount and achieve. So now it's being revealed who truly the wicked is, and that means that the whole world is going to actually thoroughly scrutinize and examine these people, and they will see and then know that there is nothing good in them, and there is nothing never good with them. That's why everybody's going back in history and in time and actually debunking all these claims, and they're saying like, well, look, first of all, the moon landing never happened. That was a damn lie. Abraham Lincoln didn't actually free the slaves. That wasn't his intent. George Washington was a slave owner. Lewis and Clark really didn't discover anything new. The origins of Halloween, Christmas, everybody's just going back and digging through and finally calling these people for what they are and saying like, wait a minute now, you really aren't worthy of anything credible and respectable. Everything you've done, you've either stole it, you robbed, or you cheated. And the only thing you are contributing to is actually the downfall of society as we know it, all while proclaiming to be God's chosen people. You are the wicked. This is what's happening to them. And this is why they feel like they've been outed, because that's really all the Lord did was just out you. He just shed the light upon you. He goes on, it says, "And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth." And that's starting with the prophets, because he tells you that his weapon, the Lord's weapon, is the truth. It's the truth. So I really like that comment that they said. They said to this man, nothing can be more insulting than the truth. It is, and that is the truth. As Ephesians 6, verse 17, going straight to the point, it says, "And take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of Yahweh." So the sword of the Spirit is the word of Yahweh. Word. Jeremiah 5:14, "Wherefore thus saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts, because ye speak this word, behold, I will make my words in thy mouth fire, and this people wood, and it shall devour them." So it's the spiritual aspect of being, you could say, condemned. And then the Lord's going to physically do it. He's doing it spiritually now by both the prophets and the people in the world. It says, "Even then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they received not of the love of truth, that they might be saved. And for this cause Yahweh shall send them a strong delusion, that they should believe a lie, that they all might be damned who believe not the truth, but have pleasure in unrighteousness." So this man is going to be revealed. And one of his delusions, that he honestly believes that he's accepted in the eyes of the Lord. He honestly believes that the Lord is going to accept him first. They think the Lord looks like him. The Lord looks like them. And that's a lie.
A drug to our societies. Yeah, although you people can make the argument, oh, but it's already made legal. But why are you contributing to it? Why are you facilitating it? Why are you making a profit off the difficulty and hardship of others. And that's what it comes down to. This guy is so brazen, so proud, and tells us clearly to our faces this is what he's going to do. But you know what, ladies and gentlemen? The problem is the Muslims. Yeah, we're the ones that are, actually, no. Which Muslim that would come out and say something like this would not be held to account by his own community and would be dealt with internally? This is something that is absolutely not in line with Islam and our teachings.
Yeah. Hey, Vocab, where you at? You always want to do videos about Hebrew Israelites and Muslims because y'all always trying to tie us together and say that we're radicals and we're dangerous. Where you at? Why don't you have anything to say about that? Let's see you do a video talking about pornography and how detrimental it is to society and the young boys and its adultery and sodomy and bestiality and all manner of evil. Why don't you ever talk about that? But no, we're the worst thing. We the Israelites, we're the worst things because we got the nerve to say that in the kingdom of heaven, through the power of our Lord, we're going to get payback double for the atrocities that was committed against us. Oh, we just have to be stopped. We're the worst thing since Hitler, right? But what do you have to say about what's going on today? These people who call themselves God's chosen, who, according to their book, he's utilizing and taking advantage over something that's unholy in the eyes of the Lord. And they call themselves a chosen people, and he was supposedly trained up as a rabbi, which means he's supposed to be scholarly in the scriptures. What don't you have to say about that? Oh, you got nothing to say, huh? Well, the Lord has plenty to say, and what the Lord is doing is just revealing these people for who they truly are. That's all he's doing. The whole world is just seeing, and he's shedding the light, and they dreaded that. This is the day they dreaded, where the light is shine upon them. The reason why rats are don't like the light is because they're sensitive to their eyes. So, and they have fewer places to hide. All you gotta do is Google it; it'll tell you right there. All right. Isaiah 14. Now we know it's talking about the wicked, but here's what he said. Verse 18. All the kings of the nations, even all of them, lie in glory, every one in his own house. But thou art cast out of thy grave like an abominable branch, and as the raiment of those that are slain, thrust through with the sword, that go down to the stones of the pit as a carcass trodden under feet. Thou shalt not be joined with them in burial, because thou hast destroyed thy land and slain thy people. The seed of evildoers shall never be renowned. And renown means to be called. Your name will never be acknowledged or reverenced as something holy or nice or right people. But yet every other nation, they have in some way have something that they believe that they can glory in. But when it comes to you, Edomites, you got nothing. Okay, the seed of evildoers shall never be renowned. You have nothing to praise and you have nothing to glory in. Because when an inquisition is made, it's found out that you either lied about it, stole it, or cheated, or murdered to get it by bloodshed. That's what's being figured out. And your wealth is corrupt. Your wealth is not respectfully earned. It was always off the backs of others at the detriment of others. Just like the slave ships, which you don't like. That's just another truth that you aren't allowed to talk about. You could talk about how the white man and the slave trade and all that, but you can't, when it comes to that slave trade, you can't use the word Jewish. You can't talk about their involvement because they're going to shut that down, even though it's on paper. 90% of the slave ships, as well as the auctions, were funded by the Amalekites. But if you say that, they'll take your video down. That's considered hate speech. Just talk about them. You can't mention us. But it's the truth, and it's coming out. You see, you would have never learned that in school. You would have only learned that in today's time where the truth is coming out. And they don't want that to be brought out because, it's really hard to play the victim when there's evidence that you are considered the perpetrator of another people who truly are oppressed and who truly are the biblical Jews. You see? So all the lies is coming out. As James chapter 5 says, go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Ye have heaped treasure together for the last days. So all your wealth is corrupt. Oh, and I should have mentioned that that wealth that they made from slavery is still passed down to this day. That's why if you was to meet an Amalekite, they're not going to tell you what business they're in. Just like that devil, he would never tell you, I'm in the prawn industry. He would say, well, I run a business. That's what he'll say. I run a very lucrative business, and we're all about safety and helping people here. And it's like, well, wait a minute, explain it to me. And then you eventually gonna be like, wait a minute, so you run a porn industry? Just come out and say it. Well, no, I don't want that. Yeah. Why? Because it's cankered. Okay, if you were known for doing something respectful for the people, you wouldn't have any shame to say what you're doing. You say, hey, yeah, man, hey, look, man, I came up with an invention. Right, I came up with an invention, and yeah, man, here it is, and this is what I came up with. You'll be proud to wear it on your shoulders like a sleeve, but instead they try to do everything in the dark and operate in the secret. But the Lord is just shining the light on them. That's why just for them to do that interview, they had to be strategic, like I said, had a Christian there, and be very specific and short on what we say, and that's just it. We ain't talking about it no more. Right? It goes on. Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud, crieth, and the cries of them which have reaped, are entered into the ears of the Lord of the Sabaoth. Ye lived in pleasure on the earth, and been wanton. Ye have nourished your hearts as in the day of slaughter. Ye have condemned and killed the just, and he doeth not resist you. And that's why he goes on to say, you're going to be judged mercilessly. As James 2:13 says, for he shall have judgment without mercy that have showed no mercy, and mercy rejoiceth against judgment. So prepare for all of those things to come to you with your corrupt and your moth-eaten riches, which will profit you no good in that day. And the Lord's going to continue to expose you devils for who exactly you are, the things you like to do, the things you participate in, your belief, and it's not going to be you're not going to be able to contend or try to point the finger to anyone else, because it's going to be acknowledged that you are the wicked and you are the most base people on the earth, and there's no other people worse than you, as much as you want to try to make them out to be. There's no amount of crimes that any person or nation could commit that will outdo you. Okay, you lead the leaderboard, number one, as of everything evil or wicked. You will take the top, especially you Amalekites. With that, shalom.